It was on 13th of March 2013, when the echoes of the Habemus Papam announcement died away, that an imposing 76-year-old man emerged to a sound of joyous applause that re-echoed in St. Peter's Square.
As the bells of St. Peter's Basilica pealed, tens of thousands of the faithful crammed into the square in the rain below, ecstatic in expectancy, but not a hint of who that choice would be. Mobile phone lines into and out of Rome completely jammed. Then a hush descended on St. Peter's Square, all eyes on the Vatican balcony above. Just over 1 hour after the white smoke signal, a twitching of the curtains and a cardinal appears.
Habemus Papam.
Habemus Papam, we have a pope, he said.
Pope Francis, the 266th pontiff, hailed from the Archdiocese of Buenos Aires, Argentina. As Cardinal Jorge Mario Bergoglio, he chose the name Francis to recall the memory of Saint Francis of Assisi and was the first pontiff to do so. Additionally, he was the first Jesuit pope, as well as the first from outside of Europe. During this first appearance, Pope Francis invited everyone to be still and pray for his predecessor, Pope Benedict XVI. And before bestowing his blessing on the people and the world, His Holiness said, "And now, I would like to give the blessing, but first, I want to ask you a favor. Before the bishop blesses the people, I ask that you would pray to the Lord to bless me, the prayer of the people for their bishop. Let us say this prayer, your prayer for me, in silence." Thus did the new Pope win the world's admiration.
Grazie. E prima di tutto vorrei fare una preghiera per il nostro vescovo emerito Benedetto XVI. E adesso incominciamo questo cammino, vescovo e popolo, questo cammino della Chiesa di Roma, che è quella che presiede nella carità a tutte le chiese. Un cammino di fratellanza, d'amore, di fiducia fra noi. Preghiamo sempre per noi, l'uno per l'altro. Preghiamo per tutto il mondo, perché ci sia una grande fratellanza.
Pope Francis was born on 17th of December 1936 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and grew up with 5 siblings. Son of a railway worker from Turin, Italy, in his youth the Pope aspired to be a chemist and received a titulo in chemistry from the Escuela Tecnica Industrial before entering the seminary and becoming a Jesuit on 11th of March 1958. In 1967, the future Pope completed his theological studies and was ordained on 13th of December 1969, before continuing his teaching career at the University of San Miguel, where he became a professor of theology. Between 1973 and 1979, Father Bergoglio served as the provincial superior of the Jesuits in Argentina, and became the rector of the Philosophical and Theological Faculty of San Miguel. In 1992, Father Bergoglio was appointed as the Auxiliary Bishop of Buenos Aires and succeeded as Metropolitan Archbishop on 28th of February 1998. On 21st of February 2001, Pope John Paul II appointed Archbishop Bergoglio as cardinal, after which he held numerous positions in the Roman Curia, including the Congregation for Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments, the Pontifical Council for the Family, and the Commission for Latin America. Cardinal Bergoglio served in these capacities until the start of his pontificate in 2013. The first major overseas pastoral event of the Pontificate was the 15th International World Youth Day, held between 23rd and 28th of July 2013 in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Throughout his visit, the Pope was received by vast crowds of youths and attendees that were said to number some 3 million people from more than 150 countries. This papal visit, as well as another to the 16th International World Youth Day in Krakow, Poland in 2016, highlights the importance the Pope attaches to youths as the future of the Church. The papal visits to the International World Youth Days were only 2 of 22 pastoral visits that the Pontiff has conducted outside of Italy thus far. In 2014, His Holiness visited the Holy Land and met with His All-Holiness Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew I to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the meeting between Pope Paul VI and Ecumenical Patriarch Athenagoras I in 1964. In the same year, Pope Francis attended the 6th Asian Youth Day in the Republic of Korea and visited Albania, the European Parliament in Strasbourg, France, as well as Turkey. Notably, during his Turkish visit, the Pope celebrated Mass with Ecumenical Patriarch Bartholomew I at the Church of St. George in Istanbul, and reaffirmed his intention to work for Christian unity. In 2015, the Pope visited Sri Lanka, the Philippines, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Ecuador, Bolivia, Paraguay, Cuba, and the United States, where he visited the United Nations headquarters in New York City. The year ended with the Pontificate's first visit to Africa, to Kenya, Uganda, and the Central African Republic. The following year, in 2016, the Pope visited Mexico, the Hellenic Republic, and Armenia, where he met His Holiness Catholicos Karekin II, the Supreme Patriarch and Catholicos of all Armenians. The same year also saw visits to Azerbaijan and Sweden. In 2017, the Pope visited Egypt and conducted a pilgrimage to the Sanctuary of Our Lady of Fatima in Portugal to celebrate the centenary of the Blessed Virgin Mary's apparition at the Cova da Iria. Other visits included Colombia, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. In the present year, the Pope has thus far visited Chile and Peru. The Pope has not neglected his duty of pastoral care, establishing the World Day of the Poor, which falls on the 33rd Sunday in Ordinary Time, where he encouraged Catholics to share what they can with the poor to become closer to the gospel message. To provide an example, the Pope would always make time for the poor and marginalized. The world has become familiar with images such as a child playing on the papal throne during the Family Day Mass at the Vatican in 2013, the compassionate kiss given to a disfigured 53-year-old man, and the washing of the feet of those suffering from HIV/AIDS, as well as prisoners, even those of a different religion. These images demonstrate the Pope's all-encompassing compassion and understanding for the less fortunate. On 4th of January 2015, Pope Francis announced the appointment of Archbishop Francis Xavier Griengsak Govitvanit of Bangkok as Cardinal. This appointment made Cardinal Francis Xavier the second Thai cardinal in the history of the Church. Other notable pastoral appointments included Father Wachasin Kritchalerm as the Director of the Pontifical Mission Works, and Bishop Joseph Chusak Sirisut as a member of the Pontifical Council for Interreligious Dialogue. With regard to social communications, His Holiness appointed Cardinal Francis Xavier as a member of the Pontifical Council for Social Communications and Chainarong Montianvishianchai as consultor to the same council. In addition, many Thais have had the opportunity to see and have an audience with His Holiness on various occasions, including the quinquennial visit ad limina, where the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Thailand is scheduled to make its report this year. Nevertheless, Thai Catholics continue to await a papal visit, where the country and the Church have not seen such a visit to Thailand since that of Pope John Paul II in 1984. It is not easy to summarize the life and activities of a person in a few words, especially if that person is the Supreme Pontiff of the Church. However, to capture the essence of Pope Francis, one needs to only recall his smile, a smile that radiates compassion and contentment, the contentment of a servant who announces the good news of God's love to all of humanity.